Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining today's Legacy Network Informational Webinar. My name is Shameeka Leacock. I serve as the Associate Director of the Community Department here at the James Beard Foundation. In the next half an hour, I will be guiding you along the application and program process, just so that you have some additional insight to what you can expect in the Legacy Network application, but the program overall. I will be also joined by two alum of this past year's cohort for our 2023-24 program year. But thank you so much for joining today's webinar. There will be an opportunity towards the end to ask any questions you may have, specific or not, about the Legacy Network program. But you can also use this opportunity over the course of the session to chat your questions or submit your questions in the question box. So happy to address any and all questions you have. And I'll also make sure that you have the appropriate email address, which is legacy@jamesbeard.org, to reach out if you have any further questions after today. So again, thank you so much for joining. This is also being recorded, so this will be a resource that you can review at a later time, and that should be posted on our website. So let's go ahead and get started. I'd like to just share with you very briefly what we'll be reviewing this afternoon, and hopefully this will wrap up in just a half an hour or so, and I'll give you back another half an hour of your day. But I'll be giving you a brief overview of the program itself, in addition to chatting with two of our Legacy alum, Medegine and Mohammed, who are hopefully going to be able to share with you their personal experience on the program this past year. I have sirens out my window here. I hope you don't hear that. But in addition to that, I'll be going over some of the program benefits. If you're wondering, why is this program for me? Why should I apply? Why should I participate? We'll discuss that a bit further as we go along. Application tips. I think that this is a fairly simple application process, but there are two different types, that of for the advisor and the advisee. So I'll be sharing with you some of the nuances between the two. And you have 4 weeks to submit your application. So you have plenty of time to get it done and submit a quality application that you're proud of. And then last but not least, as I mentioned earlier, there'll be an opportunity for a Q&A. So if you have questions, put them in the chat, list them in the question field, or hold your questions to the end. So let's go over the program as a whole and why you're likely here today to learn more about the program. This is a seal on the right-hand side of your screen that shows what our participants receive, which is a program seal after fully completing the 7 months program. This is an example of this year's advisees who received this program seal. So some basic information about the Legacy Network. You may have learned about this on our website, but the Legacy Network is designed to create a powerful network among folks of color, people of color, to grow within your industry who are typically from underserved communities or underrepresented populations. The goal of this program is to really ensure that our advisees, with the support of our advisors, are continue to foster a career path so that they are building a sustainable, we're helping to support a sustainable industry for you who want to be part of the culinary and hospitality industry. And that's really through mentorship. This is a 7-month program in which you will be engaging with participants from all over the country who are in similar, but maybe very different experiences professionally than you are. And you're interested in joining this program as a mentor because you're interested in providing your knowledge, your expertise, your skill set with someone who's perhaps younger or newer in this industry. And as an advisee, you're interested in really gaining and building a network within this community, which is vast but small, all at the very same time, and being supported by advisors who are lending their support as part of the program, but also support of the James Beard Foundation. So there's some eligibility requirements that I'd like to share with you. You may have seen this on our website already. The program is specifically catered to people of color in the culinary and hospitality field. And it varies based upon your experience if you're an advisor or advisee. For example, if you're an advisor, most of our advisors have on average more than 20 years experience in the culinary hospitality field. That doesn't mean to be an advisor that you cannot be an advisor if you have less than 20 years experience, but we are looking for individuals who've been in the industry for some time. For our advisees, we're looking for individuals who have up to 5 years experience in the culinary or hospitality field. That could be a combination of school, that could be a combination of work experience. But that is what we're looking for in terms of the time frame. There are some other differences amongst the requirements for the advisors and advisees. That information is all on the website, so I won't go over it in too much detail. But another thing that's consistent among all of our applicants and participants is that you must reside within the United States or its territories. You have to be interested in mentorship. This isn't a program that's going to necessarily support you in creating a business plan or brand marketing. This is a mentorship program. And so if you have a strong internship in mentoring others or being mentored, then this certainly could be the program for you. There's no prior experience required for our advisors or our advisees. So if this is your first time receiving a formal mentorship or executive leadership coaching, that's quite okay. That's something that we'll be providing over the course of the program for our advisors and advisees. The full commitment of the program is in totality about 25 to 30 hours. That includes monthly calls, meetings that take place amongst the pods, which we'll talk about what that means a little bit later. But those 25 to 30 hours are really based upon the course of 7 months. On average, you're meeting, I would say, about 3 to 5 hours per month with the participants. This year, we will continue to recruit and select 30 participants in total, which means 15 advisors and 15 advisees. If you're not sure if you are a candidate to be an advisee or an advisor, I encourage you to go back to our website, which is jamesbeard.org/legacy network, to understand the distinction between the two kind of titles or roles. If you're an advisor, you're someone who wants to mentor others. If you're an advisee, you want to be mentored, right? The timeline for the program will launch officially in early September and conclude March of 2025. We'll take a bit of a look a little bit later at the timeline and some of the concrete dates of the program a little bit later. Oh, here we are. So here's the program cycle for this year's cohort. As you know, because you're here with us, the program application launched just this Monday and will conclude exactly a month from Monday, which will be July 15th. The application will close 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And oh, sorry, that's listed there twice. But the application for advisors and advisees have the same deadline. They are 2 different application links. We will be selecting our participants and notifying everyone who either has been selected for this year's cohort or has not. Unfortunately, will be informed no later than August 19th. We will kick off the first week of September, so the week of Labor Day. Our advisor training begins September 11th, which is roughly 11 hours over the course of a week. For our advisees, I think that's closer to 9 hours, and that will kick off around September 15th. During the month of November, there will be 2 sessions dedicated to financial literacy. That's a wonderful addition that we've incorporated into the program this year. So I hope that that's something that will benefit you in your professional journey and goals. And then there are 60-minute pod calls that take place, again, over the course of the 7 months of the program. So that it will launch in September and conclude in March. as will our 90-minute monthly legacy participant calls. I'll explain the difference between the two. A pod call is a group of 10 participants who have a similar interest, perhaps wine and spirits, culinary management, journalism, media, will be in a smaller pod group in which they'll be discussing specific topics that relate to that field. And so again, that will take place over the course of 7 months. And then for the legacy calls, that's when all 30 of the participants are engaging in some educational work that's guided by our professional leadership coach. At the tail end of the program, excited to announce that there will be an experiential trip. This year, the program is sponsored by both Hines and the Callin, and there will be a trip at the tail end of the program in early March. And I'll have specific dates once the program begins at the headquarters of Hines offices. And then the program will officially conclude at the end of March. So I am excited to announce to you, we have this great opportunity. The Callin, and here's some information about the organization, was founded after a meeting in 2009 by broadcaster Jim Nats, as well as the veteran in the wine industry, Peter Deutsch. They essentially founded a wine collection called The Callin that's based out in California. What this opportunity presents for our legacy participant is that one advisee will be selected as the Callin Wine Fellow. So again, we'll continue to select 30 participants in total, but one of those advisees, one of the 15 that will be selected this year, will be selected as the Callin Wine Fellow. So if you started your application or you haven't just yet, you'll see a series of questions in the application that identifies if you're interested in this opportunity. Let's talk a little bit about why you might be interested. So if you are someone who's a wine enthusiast, you're a lover of wine, and you want to learn more about the industry specifically, or you're currently in the wine and spirits professionally, whether it's a bar manager, you could be a vineyard manager. There's so many different arrays. Winemaker. This could be the perfect opportunity for you. The benefits of being the wine fellow, in addition to participating in the full 7 months of the legacy program, are some of the additional educational support and access to the Callin's membership events and conferences. So there's some additional benefits to being selected as the Callin Wine Fellow. You'll see this, there are a series of questions that I mentioned in the application. And if you're not interested in being the Callin Wine Fellow, then you'll have the opportunity to indicate so. But if you are, please answer those questions in as much detail as possible so that we consider you for this unique opportunity that we have this year. So I saw that Mohammed, you hopped on the call. Are you still there? This is the point where I'm excited to have you talk a little bit about your experience this past year with the Legacy program. And Medegine is also here. I don't think I can hear you.
Hi, I'm here. Hi, Shameeka.
How are you? Thank you so much for joining.
Great.
Mohammed, can you
hear me now?
Yes, perfect. Okay. Thank you so much both for joining us. I'm really excited to introduce to those of you who are on today's webinar to Mohammed, as well as Medegine. They are participants of this past year's Legacy Network cohort. Mohammed served as an advisor to actually Medegine. So this is kind of the perfect pairing. I planned that. So thank you so much for joining. And Medegine served as an advisee for this year's cohort. This is, I think, a great opportunity for those on the call who are considering, not sure if this is the right program for them, why they want to go ahead and submit that application for consideration. So Medegine, I'm going to ask you to get started. Tell me a little bit about sort of your journey in the hospitality space. What I love about being a member of the foundation is learning about everyone's journey is so unique in the culinary space. And I think that the assumption is that everyone knew this is what the field they wanted to be in, and that's not always the case. So tell me a little bit about your journey in the culinary space and how you learned about the program.
So I did corporate actually for a while before I decided to go into culinary. I found that I did not like sitting at a table or a desk answering the phone. And in my culture, like I have a Haitian American background, and a lot of the restaurants that I am accustomed to being a patron of were always like mom and pop, very little hospitality. And I live in this city, grew up in Harlem. So I'm traveling really far to Brooklyn or Long Island, trying to find like, I have a craving for whatever, griot or black rice or something like that. And it's 5 o'clock. And I'm always getting really bad hospitality, not a very welcoming environment, or they don't have what I came in for, what I traveled for. So got frustrated a few times and decided, you know what, I can do this myself. And one day I decided to go for it and apply to culinary school, which is CIA. So I'm a CIA grad, and that was a very interesting and challenging journey. But I'm glad that I came out at the end, learning as much as I did about the industry. Post graduation, I worked at Jean Georges, which is where I honed my skills as a chef. And luckily, a little bit after that, I was able to get an opportunity at Columbia University working as an event manager. So I was able to utilize my chef skills, my background in food, and also my management skills to land a position that I actually wanted for a very long time.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. And then how did you learn about the Legacy Network program?
So I actually learned about James Beard through my school. I applied for a scholarship at the time at CIA, didn't get it, but I was part of the emails, and I was just informed every time an opportunity arises. And so when I heard about the Legacy program through email, I decided to give it a chance. Didn't think I would get in, but I submitted my application anyway, and it was a very great opportunity for me. You muted yourself, Shameeka.
Thank you. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Great. I was saying it's been a pleasure working with you, but you already know that.
Yes, likewise.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about your approach to the application, because I know about your background in writing, but those on the call do not. So tell us a little bit about, did you go with a specific approach when you worked on your application? And did anything stump you? Did you have any challenges with anything in particular? And how'd you navigate that?
Okay, so the writing part was easier. I would suggest everyone to kind of like reach out to whoever they want their letters of recommendations from. Being that there's a deadline, you just want to make sure that you're giving the person ample time to write something really nice about you in a timely manner, and not something rushed, because I feel like that you guys take that into consideration. I didn't have a problem with the writing, but I hate being on camera and videos. So that's the part that took me the longest, like me just getting myself kind of like makeup ready, just so I can feel comfortable in front of a camera. And I did a couple of takes actually, just so I can submit something that I felt like I would be proud to have watched. I also kind of like outlined what I wanted to say versus me like kind of rambling on and things like that. So I feel like that's a good advice that anyone could utilize as well.
Thank you. Practice, 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 right?
Yes.
Yeah, don't submit
Yes.
anything to submit. Submit something that you feel really confident and good in.
Because it is
Thank you.
very competitive. I didn't really even realize how many people were applying at the time. Like I kind of knew that it would be challenging, but you just don't know like, who you're up against. You just want to make sure you present your best at all times.
Absolutely. That's excellent advice. Thank you. I'm going to bring in your advisor, Mohammed, to talk a little bit about perhaps navigating the program. Mohammed, you served as an advisor this year. You had some engagement with the James Beard Foundation, giving a film that you were part of. So talk to us about your entry to the James Beard Foundation, even before the Legacy program till now, and a little bit about the program, please. Hold on one second. Can't hear you there.
Hear me?
Yes, there you go.
Oh, so I came in, my journey about being involved with the James Beard Foundation came actually through being a finalist for James Beard Media Award in 2023, last year. And for me, that was a big honor because we had an opportunity from our restaurant in Philly to, get put on a platform and showcase what we're able to do from a community standpoint, and also being a restaurant that's kind of new into the industry and had a unique and it had some unique a unique mission that went along with it. So to have our restaurant being recognized by the James Beard Foundation was huge for us. So from that point, I developed, started to have this relationship with the Beard Foundation and started to, get emails and things, and they reach out to me certain things. I've done countless dinners at the platform. Oh, not me, I'm not a chef, but my chef through the restaurant. I've done a lot of pop-ups at the platform event. This Legacy Network was one of the things, like I said, that later on came afterwards. But just, once that nomination last year happened, it was like, for me, like, it was eye-opening. And then honestly, from there, I've learned so much more about what James Beard Foundation has to offer. It's not just about the awards, and that's the thing that a lot of people hyper focus on. But these programs, whether it be Legacy Network, the Boot Camp, these other programs that are really on the other side of helping individuals further their career, is where I see the true intrinsic value from the foundation, is the community side. So that's one thing that I love about the foundation, is that it's so many opportunities for individuals who want to further their knowledge base or just connect with other people in the same industry to better their careers. It's a lot of opportunities throughout the foundation, and they are, very diverse foundation, and their approach, and they, your voices, what we heard, through that. So where I stopped with the dinners, and then the Legacy Network, I got an email, same as Medegine, I got an email about applying it for it. And when I got the email, I looked at it and I'm like, I'm kind of thinking like, I want to apply for it, but I'm also thinking like, I'm second guessing myself, only because my restaurant's been open probably going on 5 years. That's all, I've been in the restaurant industry, and I'm not a chef. I was somebody who was an avid community worker, and I wanted to open up a restaurant to use food as the vehicle to have the larger conversation about what we're trying to do as far as in the criminal justice space. So I was focused on that side. So I didn't have a background in like culinary, and like I said, I'm not a chef. So when I was looking at the criteria for the Legacy, I was kind of like, this is a very cool program. I would love to be a part of it, but I don't know if it's a fit for me. And the one thing that I always tell Shameeka, I tell her every time we talk, like, I started my application and then I like stopped because I was like, I don't know. I was second guessing myself. And she kind of reached out to me and said, you know what, I think you should finish, because, I think it's something there. Not to say, you're going to get in the program, but I think you should at least finish your application. And I did it. And, she basically showed me that, the things I was second guessing myself, like, it was there because I was so new in the industry. I had something to offer to the Legacy Network. And through, I finished my application, and I was selected to be an advisor. And I was, like, super excited about the opportunity, because I feel as though, just from a life journey and having experience in so many different industries, being an entrepreneur for so long, I really had a lot to give, even if it wasn't specifically from the culinary space, but a lot of the things that, I have experienced are things that can go within the culinary space and just in life in general to help people on their journey. So it was a great opportunity for me to work, especially, with Medegine, and throughout this process, and, a lot of good conversations, a a lot of good meetups, and then, you know, we have, you know, lifelong relationships that you know, they're yours. You know, they don't belong to the Bear Foundation, they belong to you. It's up to you to continue to foster those. So you know, I would definitely encourage, you know, individuals to go for it and be, you know, be a helping hand to, you know, your fellow colleagues in the industry, because you never know what you have that they can take back and maybe, you know, utilize to further their journey.
Thank you. Thanks so much. It would be remiss for me not to mention that because of the work that you're doing in your community in Philly, that you were awarded our leadership award with the foundation. So I've said it before, but congrats again officially. I'm sorry. I wish I was there to see you receive your official award, but congratulations and thank you for being an advisor this past year. And this goes for both of you, if you can tackle this question. Talk to us a little bit about the mentorship piece, right? What was something, Medegine, that you got out of the program in working with Mohammed or other advisors and participants in the program?
Well, working with Mohammed, I can say I feel like I finally have that person that I can go to if I have questions or need help with something. I know he's going to be there to assist me with. And he does have a wealth of knowledge. And if he does not know the answer, no, he knows someone who knows the answer. So I feel like very lucky to have been paired with Mohammed for that reason. And not only that, but he also it was a little bit of a disadvantage for me only because Mohammed's a little further. If he was closer, I probably would have been bothering him a lot more and we would have like more interactions. But not to say I can't take, you know, a trip to Philly. But I feel like having access to someone who's been in the industry is definitely profound. I enjoyed our meetings with On Purpose Talent. Those webinars was very an outlet for many of us who were going through whatever, whether it's customers giving us a hard time or just asking questions about what platform do you use for POS or whatever those questions are that we need answers for. That was really insightful. I like the financial aspect. We had like a webinar, I think it was like a week long or so, or maybe a month long, where we were able to ask questions about our credit scores and how can we get a better credit and what resources can we tap into to open up our business. A lot of people always want to know where the money is. And that was something that was beneficial for all of us. And then just having access to like the events and the platform hosted and any other events, I guess, that you even find Shameeka that you would definitely host and hit us up and let us know if we're interested in attending. So I think those were the beneficial aspects for me.
Thanks. Thank you so much. And for you, Mohammed, any major takeaways from the program experience?
Yeah, the major takeaways for me is being able to work with great people for one, but also even though being in an advisor position, the wealth of knowledge and still being open-minded and being able to learn so much. I think that's where there's a lot of value with just because you're an advisor doesn't mean you can't learn, because I learned as well a lot from Medegine because she has a culinary background and it was just something that we reciprocated the knowledge. It wasn't like, oh well, you're in the I'm your advisor, so it's like I know this and I know that. It's like no, there's still things that I'm growing within the space, and I'm continuously constantly learning and sharpening my my knife as far as like knowledge base and experience in the industry, which was great. And I always feel like the minute you stop learning, and then that's where you lost your life. You always got to be open-minded to like learning more. You ain't nobody knows everything. The other good takeaways were this the community that was built this within our cohort. We still have a group message now that we still communicate through and get updates about people and what they have going on. So it's like this community that you built within the community, and then people extend their the resources to you as well. So to what Medegine was talking about, you need somebody to run your social media. You got access to not just your advisors, but a whole wealth of people that will give you, if they don't know somebody, they'll go search for somebody, and then you'll be able to, they'll assist you in that way. So it wasn't like this program that, oh, well, I only can talk to my advisor. That's my advisor. It's like, you know, we were like this group, this family that, you know, kind of, you know, if we didn't know the answer, or we didn't know, you know, have any expertise, or we didn't know a person that, you know, people will reach out and be able to like pull from their resources to be able, you know, to do. And you know, and I, you know, always, you know, I told Medegine too that, you know, I appreciated her, you know, being patient with me, because I know at times, you know, we're in the industry, we get busy, and that's another thing, and you know, making sure that you're giving that person that dedication, that time that you signed up for, and being able to, you know, working with people in the industry, they were understanding and knowing, you know, that, and then, you know, it was always cool too, because, you know, with me, it wasn't just about this legacy network, and it was like limited, like, you know, I would come to New York, and there were things that I had going on, invite, you know, people to invite, you know, Medegine to be a part of, like outside of like just this legacy network. Cause, you know, my thing is I'm all about building community, and whatever that may look like. So it was always an opportunity for me to like, we don't got to just limit this to this legacy network and have to have this regimented, like how we can communicate, like, oh, well, come to Philly for this, or I'll come to New York. And, you know, if it's just, you know, just to have a conversation, doesn't have to be like, you know, I think it was, you know, very beneficial for me in that sense as well.
Thank you so much. I think you said it perfectly when you said community within a community. I think that's a great way to describe it. And to your point, while the length of the program is 7 months, September to March of next year, you're absolutely right in saying that the idea of building this program is so that there's a network that grows well beyond the 7 months of the program. And while, you know, you guys have your cohort, there are 2 other cohorts, and what will now be a 4th cohort this year, in which we want to bring all of those individuals together to learn from, to support, to engage with. So thank you so much for your insights, your feedback, your recommendations. If any of you on the webinar have any questions, please put it in the chat box so that Mohammed or Medegine can answer them. And if not today, I can potentially connect you with them later if needed. Thank you both for your kind words and joining today. I appreciate it. If you have to hop off because you've got a meeting or something with a restaurant or something, it's fine with me. But thank you for being here. I'm going to continue on and talk a little bit about some things that Medegine and Mohammed actually touched upon already, and that is some of the different components of the program. Medegine mentioned on-purpose talent, and on-purpose talent is actually the third party that facilitates a large portion of the program. It's led by Juliana Fowles, who is an executive leadership coach, and she does a wonderful job of bringing our mentors, our advisors to meet those mentorship skill sets that we're looking for to support the advisees, but she also facilitates all of the educational sessions throughout the 7 months of the program. So the benefits of the program are the advisor to advisee pairings, and I think Medegine touched upon this as well as maybe Mohammed. While you will have a one-to-one pairing with an advisor and advisee, it doesn't mean you don't have access to all the other advisors and advisees of the program. And I think that's sort of what I've come to learn is really the true benefits of the program. So while one advisor may specialize in legal knowledge, another may specialize in brand marketing. And so you really have access to all of the advisors and all of the advisees in the program. And whether you live in New York City like Medegine and I do, or elsewhere, you really have the opportunity to connect virtually, but when possible in person, to really kind of form and foster those relationships. Our group support, resource sharing, and networking is something about what Mohammed talked about when he talked about we have a WhatsApp chat group, and that's how we continue to support each other, share information, job opportunities, anything you can think of. It's a great outlet to gain advice, information, but also celebrate some of the many wins that our participants have had over the course of the 7 months. Mental wellness is a new component of the program this year, and as Medegine mentioned, we offer a financial literacy course which was an introduction last year, and we'll continue to offer that this year. Our monthly calls, I talked a little bit about this earlier, so I won't talk too much about it, but there are specialty pods, and in the application, you will be asked to select which of the pods is of the most strongest area of interest for you. So maybe you're a chef, and you are interested in learning more about wine and spirits, then you can rank wine and spirits as your first choice, maybe culinary management as your second, and media as your third. So it's really something that you select. You may not always get your first choice in pod, but we'll do our best to assign you to the one of closest to your interest. And the leadership coaching, that is a huge component of this program, again, offered through our facilitator, On Purpose Talent. You will have the opportunity to have one-on-one sessions with the executive leadership coach just to talk about your professional goals, whether there are things that are getting in your way of achieving them, or really fleshing out and talking about how you want and may need some help on how you get started with some of those goals. There is a training provided through ELI for our advisors, and each participant will receive personalized program workbooks that you'll use over the course of the program. So some really quick application tips for you. This is some good inside information, but as a reminder, the application deadline is July 15th. So please start working on your application. I really honestly feel like you need probably at least a solid day. If you're an advisee applicant, as Medegine mentioned, there are letters of recommendations that are required as part of your application. And so you will have to identify 2 references, give them a heads up, let them know what the program is about, let them know what your goals are so that they can indicate that in their reference letter to the James Beard Foundation. If you haven't already done so, update and refresh your resume. That is a component in the application. You'll need to upload a copy of your resume. It's just one additional way for us to learn about where you're going, what you've done. And it doesn't all have to be in the culinary and hospitality space, but we want to learn about you and your professional journey. Review and draft your ideas for your video and essay questions. So there is a video submission that Medegine hinted at, and there are a series of prompted questions in the application that are really getting to who you are, what are your professional goals, and what are some realistic goals that you can achieve if you're selected to participate in the program. Remember, this program is 7 months in length. So opening a restaurant in 7 months may not be a realistic goal, and not a realistic goal that specifically this program can assist you in. So think about that as you're sort of formulating your response in the video submission portion, as well as the essay questions. The essay questions are a little bit about your professional background, any community service or volunteer work that you have. Again, it's a way for us to learn about who you are, what your vision and your goals are. And then again, as Medegine hinted on it and hit it right on the nail, quality over quantity. We're interested in who you are and how we can support you through this program. So quality always over quantity. And then we're at the Q&A portion, just like that. I just want to remind you that please email legacy@jamesbeard.org if you have any questions or concerns about the program, about the application process. I will be manning that email account, and so I will respond to any questions or concerns you have. If you're having issues, submit the application because you're getting an error message, don't hesitate to email me. I may hop on a call with you to walk you through the process. But all of the information with regard to this particular program is featured on our website, jamesbeard.org, Legacy-Network. Once you use that login, you'll see this page on your right here with a series of photos of our past participants, as well as the 2 different application options there are. So there's an advisor versus an advisee application. And I think hopefully this has come through that if you're not sure that you should apply, you should apply. do this for yourself, do this for you personally, and do this for you professionally. I'm going to just see if there's a few questions that we have and try to address them live. Here's one question. Would you recommend this program for early career applicants who are exploring the culinary profession? Absolutely. Absolutely. We are, and that you sound like you would be likely an advisee, right? Because you may be early in your hospitality or culinary career. But yes, I would absolutely say that this is someone, this is a program for you who maybe you're just starting out and figuring out what path you want to take in this industry. This is certainly a program for you. Oh, and Medegine, thank you for answering that. Does anyone else have any other questions? If so, please put them in the chat. I'm happy to address any questions you have, whether they're unique or specific to the application or unique to your needs. I have another question that just popped up. I'm on the food media side and currently self-produce my podcast in addition to my culinary related job. So my resume doesn't necessarily speak to what this program details. Did I hear you say you should feel free to submit your resume, even if there's no connection or venture? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so this person is saying that they're on the food media side. And I do want to specify, Mohammed touched upon this, he's not a chef, he owns a restaurant. We accept in this program, not just chefs. We have chocolatiers who've participated in this program. We have journalists who've participated in the program, organizers in the culinary space who have done very well in this program. So I want you to know that this isn't just a program for chefs, but to the person who asked a question about their resume, maybe not having so much of the food media aspect of things, yeah, we certainly want to know what your professional journey has been, even if it doesn't entail that much in the culinary hospitality space. Do your references need to be in the food space? No, they do not, especially if you're someone who's just getting into the culinary space. But I do think that your reference should be able to talk to some of your goals and why you're entering that space, but it's not a requirement. Someone who you've worked with, whether it's in a professional capacity, volunteer work, are all acceptable. Educator is also another option there. Under our website, under the FAQ page of the Legacy Network, there are some FAQs about who might serve as a good reference. And so we list some of the ideas that you may want to consider. Another question, if you've been in the industry longer than 5 years, but you recently moved into a leadership role and looking for mentorship in the new role, are you still eligible to be an advisee? This is a great question, Camille. Yes, we've made exceptions. We are typically looking for those who've not been in the industry more than 5 years. But if you have a strong application and we really think you would benefit, and others would benefit from your participation in the program, we will consider your application. So I think there's an opportunity in the application to list if you have more than 5 years experience. So just be honest about that in your application and we'll still consider you. Any other questions? Medegine and Mohammed, I see you're still on. Any last piece of advice that you'd like to share with those who are on the call today about the program, the application, anything that you think might be helpful for them to consider? Those on the call seem really motivated, but yeah.
I kind of already answered this in the chat, but just come prepared with like set goals that you have in mind. Come with questions. A lot of times, like, especially on the On Purpose webinar, Juliana's always looking for feedback or people to like participate and engage. And a lot of times we're quiet on the calls. If you have something that happened within your day or just questions, it's just helpful to just come prepared. I think you get the most out of it if you have specific or detailed things in mind that you're trying to accomplish.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I would just echo to be intentional and realistic about what you want to get out of the program. So I think Shameeka spoke a little bit. No, it's a 7-month program. You're not going to open up have everything you need to open up a restaurant just from this program. So it's real key to be intentional on what you want to get out of this program for yourself and your development, and also be realistic about, understanding the time frame and the time that we meet, and what's going on within this cohort of individuals and what you realistically can get out of the program. Because I think that's a good thing to kind of keep you level on, like, sometimes people get into these situations, these cohorts, and it's like, oh, well, I'm gonna go here and then I'm gonna have my restaurant in a year, or I'm gonna have this, or something like that. This plays that, is one of those, I look at it like, you have your tool belt. This is essentially like one of the, the tools you're adding on to your tool belt throughout your journey to be able to facilitate and do some of the things that you want to do. So that would be my piece of advice, just to be intentional and realistic about what do you want to get out of this program.
Thank you. I think we'll end it there. I want to thank everyone for taking your time. I think I went over a little bit longer, but I hope that you've learned some more details about the application and program process. And this encourages you to go ahead and submit that application by July 15th. Again, if you have any questions, I'm available here at legacy@jamesbeard.org. I hope to hear from you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Mohammed, Medegine. I appreciate you guys.
All right. Thank you. Have a nice day, everyone.
All right. Bye, everybody.